Hey guys, welcome back to AstroBeauty for another episode of How Do I Match My Makeup to the Moon Sign. Today the moon is in Gemini. So many options. And so I'm going to put my face makeup on. And when I come back, we will talk all about the moon in Gemini, what happens as the moon goes through Gemini this month, and what the moon in Gemini means for our makeup. See you in a minute. And here we are back with my full face done to talk about the moon in Gemini. And I must say, this is one of the more special times of month for me when the moon goes through Gemini because, like I said, I'm in a Gemini ascendant. And so this episode, I get to talk about what's happening with me, with Gemini ascendants, people with the moon in Gemini or people with a lot of strong planets in Gemini. And I'm going to talk about how Gemini makes me feel, which is kind of just how I feel because I am an ascendant in Gemini, and what it makes me want to wear. Clothes and makeup that match the moon signs every day and nothing that ever stays the same. Many options. And lastly, and most importantly, how it makes me want to do my makeup. So, without further ado, let's get into our Moon in Gemini video, our Moon in Gemini astrology, and our Moon in Gemini makeup look. for today. Now, what am I wearing and why? First of all, don't mind my hair right now. I just got out of the shower and we'll deal with that later. In terms of my outfit today, I've actually been waiting a very long time to be able to wear this outfit, okay? I bought it specifically for Gemini moon times, and then the next Gemini moon time, or maybe it was even 2 Gemini moon times, it fell during a time of the week when there was no reason for me to wear this. There was absolutely no reason for me to put on such a cute, little jumper, but it is a cute little jumper, and it's green, and can you kind of see? It's adorable, and it's striped. And so for Gemini, okay, first of all, I need to say Gemini is an air sign, and it's mutable air. It's the last air sign. So Gemini to me is always about questioning. I mean, it's the sign of the twins too. There's like a polarity that goes on in Gemini. But for me, being an ascendant in Gemini, I generally always think of Gemini as first of all, the color green or yellow. I don't know. It's because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the messenger of the god. Mercury brings messages, information, communications, things that are streamlining, moving quickly from A to B, and it rules very small, fast things, like small birds and stuff like that, and also multiples of things because of the twins aspect of it. So when I think of Gemini and when I think of Gemini clothing, first of all, I always want to wear green, because green is a mental color. It's, the color of the mind. They say, if you paint your walls green, you'll be able to learn better in there. Green just helps facilitate the mind, I guess. And so I always want to wear green on Gemini days because this hair, sorry. So I always want to wear green on Gemini days because Gemini is a very airy mental sign. Gemini, I feel, has kind of a problem bringing things down to earth sometimes. Geminis, we're so full of ideas and options and looking at new things and making connections and getting information and observing it all and taking it in and having all these synapses and trying to organize thoughts and create thought patterns. Gemini patterns also. So when the moon goes into Gemini and it's my time to wear Gemini, I always like to wear green. I always like to wear something that makes me feel light and airy. And if possible, I always like to wear something with a pattern of some type on it. Either stripes, because it's multiple stripes. It's not just one stripe, it's multiple stripes. It's a pattern of stripes. Or polka dots. I love wearing polka dots. Or little flowers, or little, lots of little something. I love wearing patterns or polka dots or stripes or clothing that has just lots of little patterns on it when the moon is in Gemini. That's kind of my thing for Gemini. Green patterns, stripes, polka dots, multiples. Yes. Light and airy, because it is an air sign and it's very questioning and kind of not very grounded. Just kind of let's float away. Gemini. Let's just look at things and ask questions and find information and create thought patterns and not necessarily be super grounded. So that's what we're going for with my Gemini look today. And also options, lots of options. And I think because I'm an ascendant in Gemini and I have so much Aquarius energy, I think that's why I enjoy so much never dressing the same, always making it different. I don't have one specific style. I love rocking every different type of style and changing. And that's another thing I can say as a Gemini ascendant. And I've been like this. I remember in middle school was the first time I started becoming conscious of this internal desire. But I wanted and I always want to have like a completely different look. Like I want to be able to like present myself and almost look like a different person like every day. I just think clothes and makeup give you so many options and it's so fun. Like I love just dressing up and changing my style, changeable, mutable Gemini every day. And so I think that has a little bit to do with my Astro Beauty. Let's match our makeup to the moon phases every couple of days because it just gives me an opportunity to try new things, Gemini, and to change it up, Gemini. And that's what we're doing here with the moon in Gemini today. So let's talk about makeup because today I've gone even more than 4 minutes. It's 6 minutes and I'm still talking about not makeup. So for our makeup, it's actually a very special day for a few reasons here on Astro Beauty. And one of those reasons is I am going to be trying out this new Cosmic Reflect Pacifica palette, which I have not tried before. It is new. It is hemp infused colors. Oh. And we are going to try them out today. I love Pacifica. I am an all-natural makeup channel, which means I only use all-natural makeup products. And I like to try as many as I can and see how they work. And I think that we can come up with some awesome, amazing brands that completely negate the need for standard brands that still make their products with chemicals and toxins that are bad for our bodies, regardless of how well they look. I think that we can use things like, I don't know, this instead of that. So that's my thing. All natural makeup, all natural astrology looks. Something. All right, so I'm seeing right here this color in the shade Hemp Leaf. And I think that I'm going to use that today for my green. I think it will be a good match. And I'm also thinking that I kind of want to play a little bit with like a peachy color also. Maybe because that might, oh, sorry, you can't see that. Look at it, it's so big. Maybe like this, and this. I used like a peachy cheek base today. So I'm really struggling though, and I can't decide. I wanted to do a look with this green color, but I also really want to use this color and do like a more like bright pinky to go with the green instead of making it more darker toned, because this green, when I swatched it, it does come out pretty dark and it matches my jumper perfectly. But I just don't know that I want to go with a super dark eye today. I feel like I want to go with more of a bright, lively shimmer. So I can't decide, and I'm undecided. And we're celebrating Gemini, so that's okay. And I'm actually going to do things a little different today, change things up in true mutable Gemini fashion. Gemini likes to change things, try different things. It's a mutable sign, so it's not too stuck to any particular way of doing things. So Gemini is changeable, and I just don't know. So we're just going to get started. I have decided that for the base of the look, I am going to use some of these shades on this side of my Pacifica Pink Nude palette, just because I want really more of like a peachy pink vibe today. Bright, like Gemini. I don't know, Gemini always just seems bright to me. Not like bright like Leo, like the sun, but like bright like mental, just liveliness sort of. So I'm going to start with the peaches. Maybe we'll see how it's looking. Maybe I'll use the hemp leaf as like a liner. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I feel like, and it's also still kind of, well, it's technically summer, but people act like it's not, but it is, and it's like 100 something degrees every day. So I'm still feeling like the bright summer look. So let's just do this. Okay? Okay. It also came with a brush. Isn't that cute? The Cosmic Reflect palette. That's the first Pacifica eyeshadow palette that has come with a brush. You know, though, when I saw this, and I do like how there's a little window so you can see the shades, but I wish it was a mirror. Because it could easily be a mirror right there. That's the only thing that I don't love about these Pacifica palettes. I'm glad that they also started putting the names of the shades underneath, because they didn't do that for their first 2 palettes, eyeshadow palettes, first 3. I've been with Pacifica for quite a while. I remember when the only palette they had was the, was it Solar something palette, and it has like some shimmer shadows and like a bronzer and a blush. And that's like they didn't have their separate eyeshadow palettes yet. That's how long I've been with Pacifica. But, all right. I'm going to start with this peachy shade right here. I'm going to try out this new Pacifica brush and start talking about Moon and Gemini astrology for this cycle. So, as the moon goes through Gemini this month, there are 2 main things that I want to talk about. 2 Gemini, dual nature. Isn't that funny? So, and to me, they're both like pretty significant. And another big thing is happening that I need to mention, because I've forgotten to mention this. I don't know how I've forgotten to mention this. So let me just go ahead and mention it now. Saturn recently went direct, and Saturn has been retrograde and is a part of that grand conjunction that's happening with Pluto, Saturn in the South Node, January 2020, that I always talk about constantly, that is basically burning through like all of our individual karma sort of, and helping to like purge us, clear us, and restructure us so that we can become kind of like the most high versions of ourselves. And because if you think about it, if everybody is operating out of the highest version of themselves, then the world changes completely. We live in an entirely different reality. And that is what is going on and what's in the process of going on, and what I kind of think we're heading towards as we get to the grand conjunction, January 2020. Anyways, Saturn, one of those planets, a very powerful planet that rules our karma and long-standing structures, things from the past, duties, obligations, time, all things like that. Yeah. He was going retrograde for quite a while in Capricorn, and he recently turned direct. So things that have been delayed, stuck, not moving forward, frustrations, depending on where Saturn is for you, what area of life, things should start clearing up and moving forward a little bit, well, or significantly in like the coming weeks and stuff, since Saturn is moved direct. All right, so there's my base. I am going to go around my eye with this a tiny bit with my little pointy e.l.f. brush. I love this brush. This one. All right, so let's get into Gemini. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is as the moon goes through Gemini, Gemini, like I said, is a mutable sign. And there are 4 other mutable signs. And those signs are Sagittarius, Pisces, well, and I said Gemini, and Virgo. Virgo. The 4th is Virgo. And the mutable, like I said, are more like the last, like the downward part of the wave. They're less stubborn, less fixed, more go with the flow, more changeable, more relaxed, more receptive, that type of frequency generally. And so those are Gemini, Sag, Pisces, and Virgo. And right now, there happen to be significant planets in all of those signs. And so when the moon goes, except Gemini, But when the moon goes into Gemini, which is a major electromagnetic trigger for energies, it's going to form a cross, a grand cross. I can't figure out how to make it look right. With the planets that are in Pisces, which are Neptune and the Black Moon, with Mars in Virgo, and with Jupiter in Sagittarius. So because Mars in Virgo, Neptune, the Black Moon in Pisces, Jupiter in Sag are all within are right around the same degrees. And also Saturn and the South Node are there too in Capricorn, as part of the conjunction, but it's a little closer to Pluto than it is to Saturn and the South Node right now. So it's really in the middle of all of that, but closer to Pluto. So I'm saying specifically more so Pluto in Capricorn. So we have those planets in the mutable signs, Jupiter and Sag, right around the same degrees. It's at, I believe, 16 degrees. We have the Black Moon and Neptune in Pisces at 16 and 18 degrees. So that's pretty tight square. And then we have Mars at 22 degrees of Virgo. Okay, so all right, I'm going to keep makeuping. Now I'm going to use this shade right here. I love this color. And then, let's see. Yeah, so that means that when the moon comes through Gemini and hits those degrees between 16 and 22 Gem, that it is going to be forming a grand cross in mutable signs with those energies. I'm putting this right in the crease. So, and grand crosses are pretty powerful because it's like a square of all, it's like a complete square, like a fully formed square, which in squares bring change. And the planets involved are pretty significant. We're talking about Mars, Neptune and the Black Moon, and Jupiter. Jupiter expands things. Mars energizes things and adds action, passion, anger, willpower. And then we have, we've been talking about where that full moon just was in Pisces, we have the Neptune Black Moon situation, which is trying to bring clarity to our shadow sides, basically, Neptune and the Black Moon. And it can simultaneously, cause sort of a desire to escape or not look at the shadow side issues, which are really our subconscious programming that holds us back from becoming who we're truly meant to be, because it keeps us in patterns of behavior that aren't necessarily beneficial to our soul's growth and development. And that's really what all of these aspects on an incremental basis over the course of the rest of the time we have up until 2020 to me are really about, are helping us all come to a place where we can clear out and face, realize, accept, and then embrace and move on from the issues that subconsciously hold us back and continue to make us repeat sabotaging or negative behavior patterns, or just keep us in a world that holds us back from what we could truly be living or be becoming, because we don't see that within ourselves. And I think that's what it's trying to do, is just help us align with our truest and our best selves. And if we all can do that, the world changes completely. I'm going to go around with this color now. So, okay, we have this big grand cross going on, and it's going to be different for everyone, obviously, depending on the areas of life that are resonating to the frequencies right now. Yeah, I feel like this was a good color choice. And we'll talk about how it affects us as Geminis in a few minutes. But for now, I just want to say about that generally, it's Mars, a lot of action and expansion towards that Neptune healing, like dissolving of illusions around who we truly are based on our shadow side. And with the moon there, it's like adding the emotional aspect to it and like the trigger that kind of like makes all of the energy start flowing. So yeah, expansion, willpower, and like clarity around shadow side issues triggered by our emotions and the moon. And so when the moon goes into Gemini, for all of us, and like on, you know, on the global stage too, we could experience some type of ignition and expansion of willpower in terms of shedding light on darkness and like, yeah, feeling the moon, feeling some type of way about that, clearing out feelings regarding that, maybe. So that's big, I feel like. Now, for the next color that I'm going to use, I'm going to go back to the All Natural Face. And I'm going to use actually this, it's a blush. It's called Every Day is a Good Day. It's another one of my little samples. I love this color. This color is amazing. It's like, I don't know, for me, it's really good. But I'm going to use a little bit of it on my eyes, and I'm going to use it on my cheeks after that. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right, so we've recently had Saturn direct. And now when the moon goes into Gemini, we have this grand cross that's going to go on. I think I'm going to use this little Pacifica brush again, because I'm just going to go right in the crease with this color. And I just put it in like a little empty loose powder thing, because it's loose powder, obviously. Loose minerals. I'm an all-natural makeup channel. I only use all-natural makeup here at AstroBeauty because makeup goes into your blood. Yes, that's right. It goes into your blood because our skin is our biggest organ, and it's got bajillions of little teeny holes in it, and everything that gets put on it gets sucked into it and then put into our blood and then processed by our organs. And even though all types of beautiful and expensive and popular makeup brands are amazing and we love them, I just feel like there are so many alternatives that don't like expose you to that type of like toxic environment inside your body. So I use only all natural makeup here at AstroBeauty. Now, moving forward. And I love the All Natural Face, and I love Pacifica, and I love 100% Pure, and I love Pure Cosmetics, and I'm going to be trying a lot more really awesome natural brands. I also love Zuzu Luxe. I love Burt's Bees lip products, and I'll say more if I think of more. Now I'm using this right here. You know, this brush like isn't broken in yet or something. I have to go back to what I'm used to, which is my EcoTools brush. I'm going to use that. All right, so that is the grand cross that's going on. We all just need to kind of be on the lookout for that, because that will happen with the moon. It will make the grand cross in Gemini. And it was the day I was using to look at the astrology was September 21st. So around then is when this aspect is going to be hitting. Now, another thing is that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. And Mercury is also in an interesting position as the moon goes through Gemini this month. And that is that it is pretty much like right at the almost the midpoint of the zodiac, starting at, if you look at it from where the new moon, the degree of where the new moon in Aries began, which was 16 Aries. And that's like a really significant degree all year because it's the frequency that is being carried, like the undertone that's being carried throughout all of the astrology that's unfolding throughout the year. The degree of the new moon in Aries this year, every year, but this year particularly, it was at 16 degrees of Aries. And right now, this week, as the moon goes through Gemini, it's going to be between like 12 and 14 degrees of Libra. So it's right coming up to opposing the midpoint. And simultaneously, we have the North Node and the South Node in Cancer and Capricorn, the South Node with Saturn, and they are at 14 and 15 degrees. The North Node is at 15 degrees of Cancer, and the South Node is at 15 degrees of Capricorn, and Saturn is at 15 degrees of Capricorn. So if you include the new moon degree, which was 16 degrees of Aries, then Mercury is also forming, the ruler of Gemini is also having its own grand cross going on. It's not exact when the moon goes through Gemini, but it's coming close. And it's with the North Node, the South Node, and Saturn itself, Mercury, and the degree, like the degree of the new moon. So I'm not exactly sure, like, how this unfolds for us, like what this means, but I just feel like it's like interesting in relation to everything that's going on. All right, I need to make up and talk. I don't know why I like get so caught up in not doing them both. You would think, as a Gemini ascendant, I would have zero problem continuously multitasking, which I do enjoy multitasking. I guess I just get like caught in like a thought stream or something. I don't know. So yeah, like let's think about it for a minute. We have Mercury, which is a ruler of Gemini, ideas, communication, information, messages, coming into opposition while the moon is in Gemini with the new moon degree, 16 Aries, which is, well, I don't want to get too much into like the meanings of the degrees right now because it will just take me way entirely too long to get my makeup done, and that is a conversation for another day. You know what? Actually, I should say that you should go to the Oracle Report YouTube channel and listen to the new moon recording that Laura Walker just did, and that will explain to you a lot more about the new moon degree. But it's a pretty powerful, significant degree for all of us in our current time, and especially in relation to the grand purge, the grand conjunction, the grand redo, evolution, happy place trying to bring us to collectively that's happening in January 2020, Saturn, Pluto, South Node. So you should go and listen to her recording on the full moon on Oracle Report, and it will tell you a lot more about that degree and why it's significant. But I just find that interesting, and that it lines up with the North and the South Node and Saturn, who just turned direct. So it's like the moon goes through, the ruler of that moon is like in full view of what the energetic of the entire year unfolding is supposed to be. It's like a checkpoint. It's like, because it's Mercury, it's like, where are we at? Like, what's the information? Like, and it's between Saturn, the South Node, who just went direct, where we have, like, that's a whole big thing. And then the North Node, where we're going to in our future. It's like Mercury is like checking out where we're at in terms of at the midway point. Just interesting with the moon going in Gemini. And I'm not saying that that is going to have like some type of major like manifestation potential or like really show up for somebody somehow, although it might, you never know. But for the most part, I just feel like it's really interesting in terms of All right, in terms of just how this whole thing is playing out, how all these aspects are playing out leading up to that grand conjunction. And like now Mercury is at the midpoint in alignment with the North and South node, while the moon's in Gemini. Messages, maybe? We should all be on the lookout for messages about the direction of our path. And because Saturn is direct now. So maybe we're doing a good job in like purging and leaving behind things that we need to, and receiving messages or information about what we need to do for the rest of the journey, for the second half until Mercury goes back. We have a new moon. All right. Anyways, maybe a little more makeup talk for a few minutes. What do you say? So now I'm thinking, see, this is where I'm like not sure which way I want to go. You know what? I'm just going to do both and hope for the best. Because it's Gemini and we like to mix and match. So we're going to go with this dark green along the lash line, and we're going to go with this Delphi Oracle, Delphi, over the lid. We'll try it out. Let's just try. Gemini likes to try new things. All right, you know what though? I think that I'm going to use this, which is a Pacifica, like primer pencil. And I forgot to prime my eyes today. That annoys me so much, just because I love using products. Ugh. Oh well, I'll use this primer pencil instead. And I'm going to go like right along my lash line with it. It works so well. Like I swear you could use these as like concealer on your face. They're super soft. I got one and then I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I went back and immediately bought another one. Just so I could have one for my lips if I need it and one for my eyes. Because they're so good. So yeah, I'm just going to do like this. Because I don't want the color to really... See, it just looks white. I don't want the color to really blend. I just want it to stay put. And I feel like this will help it be more pigmented and also hold it in place. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to put the hemp leaf green. And then I'm going to go over it with Delphi. Or is it Delphi? I feel like I would say Delphi, but that's probably not right. Oh well. We'll call it Delphi because the moon's in Gemini. And that's my ascendant, and so I guess I want to make the rules today. Maybe we should call it Delphi. I don't know. All right. So that. Now let us do the green. You know, I also have this liner brush from 100% Pure. I should probably try this. Maybe it's for liquids, but I don't know. These are like super... This is a hemp formula. They're made with hemp oil, I imagine. But they're pretty creamy. They're not super powdery, although they kind of are, but it's an interesting texture. They're very soft. Like, they're not hard at all. All right. Let's do this. First time trying one of these colors out of this beautiful palette on my eyes. I've swatched them on my arms, and I've swatched them on my son's arms. He loves when I swatch the colors on his arms. He thinks it's awesome, and I think it's awesome too because they show up so great on his like little skin. All right, let's try. Okay, so there's the general astrology. Now let's get into specific for us Geminis. So far, so good. Now, the new moon for us happened most likely in your 4th house, which is the house of the home and like the mother and the roots. I actually really like it. And I can give personal examples for this. So that's just what I'm going to do. And I don't know, maybe you can relate. But I have had so much going on at my house, so many things to do, so much cleaning and rearranging stuff and like preparing my house for stuff and doing activities at the home. Like I said, we just recently started homeschooling. I'm really liking it, actually. And I just feel like I am honestly drowning in household responsibilities right now. And it's interesting because for us, and it has been since around the new moon. For us, all of those planets in Virgo fell around our 4th house of home. And so for me, that's how it's been playing out. I have had so much to do in relation to my home. Yes. And I've been very busy, like Mars, Mercury, Venus, the sun. Am I missing anything? Mars, Mercury, Venus, the sun. Probably missing something. But yeah, like I've been Mars, super active, having to put tons of energy into like things going on in my home. Venus, I've been moving furniture around, rearranging rooms, like trying to make some spaces into different spaces, beautifying things. Mercury, I've been trying to put my homeschool curriculum together, and I've been teaching out of my home. And the sun, I mean, just been doing so much in the home. All right, I really like that. Look how different my eyes look. Now I'm going to do the other side. I'm really glad that I primed my eye with this. It looks way better, I feel like, than it would have. And this brush is proving to be awesome. Did I say it came free from 100% Pure and like the gift set that they sent me? That also came with free mascara and blur powder and liquid liner. And literally everything that they sent me is amazing. Okay, so that is how the energy in the 4th house with the new moon has been manifesting for me. I don't know about you or how it's been going for you. Can you guys even see that? But I would bet that it's kind of going the same. See, if I had a mirror here, I could just do it right here. But I don't. So I have to do it like this. And I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, like I said, I don't know, how it's going for you, but if I was my own astrologer, how I would describe the things that are going on in my home right now with me is how I would explain the energy. So maybe I'm just a good example, but that is exactly what's been happening with me. And I can do the same thing with the full moon. The full moon, if the new moon happened in our 4th house, then that means that the full moon is coming in our 10th house. The house of basically the opposite of the home, like your public place in the world, what you do that you're known for, your career, your public, what you do that you're known for. And so we know that the new moon happened in Pisces, and we know that it was conjunct Neptune in the black moon. So if we know all of those things, then we know that the full moon with Neptune in the black moon happened for us in our 10th house. So that was likely to have brought some type of like confronting of a shadow side or a frustration or kind of like an in-your-face awakening about maybe how you feel about your career in regards to what's expected of you in your home life. And for me, I have all of this energy going on, all of these things that I need to be doing at home, right? But I'm also sitting here trying to make these videos because I love doing this, and I just, like, I want to do this, and I want to put it out there to the world, the 10th house, right? And so I'm actually making this Gemini video on the day of the full moon because I have to make them a few days in advance so that I can get them edited and like out on time. So for my full moon, I'm making my moon in Gemini video, which is my ascendant. Isn't that funny? It's like astrology working out. Anyway, so for me, the full moon in the 10th is making me feel like I don't know if I should be doing what I want to be doing in terms of like my public contribution because I have all of these responsibilities that I need to be doing in my home life, you know, like that. And that is totally, like, I can say that is totally the struggle that I'm dealing with right now, is trying to figure out how to allow myself to have the time to do this, like how to give myself permission to do this, to do my 10th house, and be okay with maybe not like being perfect Virgo in all of the household things, you know? And that's like where the black moon comes into it, because it's like you don't necessarily realize sometimes why you're feeling a certain type of way, or like with a full moon, it can be, and with Mars opposing the full moon, it can be like internalized anger, internalized frustration. And if I didn't like study astrology and like try really, really, really hard to figure things out inside myself all the time, I could easily find myself in a position right now where I was feeling super, super frustrated and angry because I feel like I have so many obligations and stuff to do at home, even though I genuinely want to be doing that stuff and enjoy doing that stuff. But feeling angry that because like I don't realize that I'm feeling like I'm not giving myself permission, like I'm making myself subconsciously feel guilty about doing this, what I want to for myself, for my 10th house, like my public contribution, with the balance of all of the demands of the home. You know what I mean? So like I can realize, because like I study this stuff and I like try to do the best I can. Do we like that like it's okay, you know, like I need to be able to do this. Like it's important that I give myself time to me too, like, and not just put all of my energy completely into my home life, even though that's like what I feel like I really need to be doing, and I am doing. I just need to like it's like I need to not feel guilty about doing my 10th house right now. And if you're an ascendant in Gemini, and if you have the 4th and the 10th highlighted like I do with all of this, you might have something similar going on, like the work-home balance like frustrating you, or making you like angry for some reason, or like tugging on you, or like giving you problems in some way, or making you feel just like with the full moon there, you may have felt like just super emotional about it in some way. Oh, I really like it. I'm glad I did this. You know, I think I'm actually going to go under a tiny bit too, just because it is turning out so much better than I thought. I guess that's why Gemini likes to like try new things and like take chances with things and mix things up, because sometimes it comes out really good. Better than what you thought and you never would have tried it otherwise. So that's how I feel, or at least for me personally, that's kind of how it's been manifesting. And I've really been trying, like I said, to like give myself permission. You know, it's okay. There's like, I will get everything done that I need to get done, and I will be a great mom, and I will fulfill all my duties and responsibilities to the highest level that I can. Virgo, 4th house, all the planets. But I also, like, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be allowed, or I should have to feel bad about doing something for some type of job, for my career, for myself too. So that's what I'm trying to deal with this full moon. And I feel like maybe some of you other Geminis out there have some type of similar issue. Now, oh, I really like it. All right. You see? Now I'm going to use this Delphi color. Delphi, we can call her that. And I'm going to take this here little brush. This was actually, I believe it came from the All Natural Face. Sometimes when you buy stuff, they send you nice brushes. And I'm going to use it to put on this Delphi. Okay. All right, so moving on. Now let's talk about the Grand Cross, the first one that we have going on. And for us, that is most likely going to fall. Well, the moon will be in our first house because it's in Gemini. And I don't want this like all the way up. I just want it more on my lid. Oh, it's so pretty. So the moon, the trigger point will be in our first house. The moon will be in our first house. So, you know, we're likely to have some type of emotional situation going on that impacts the way that we act in the world because it's our first house. So we should be mindful of that. It's so pretty. I'm so happy with it. Although I'm going to use a different brush because I need something a little smaller. Because I don't want the glitter in the crease. So, yeah, we need to be mindful of our behavior and like our personal conduct because the moon is going to be forming the Grand Cross in our first house. And then that puts for us, like I said, Mars will be in our fourth because Mars is still in Virgo. And it puts Jupiter in our seventh because Jupiter is in Sag, which is opposite to Gemini. And the seventh is the house of relationships, partnerships, other people. And then it puts, again, like I said, Neptune. Oh my God, I love it. Neptune and the black moon up there in our 10th house. So for us, it's ourself and others, like us versus others. We have the moon and Jupiter. And then the fourth, Mars, home versus like public versus private life. So for us, it's like when the moon goes through our sign, I'm going to put a little bit more of this on. It's really pretty. It's just kind of like a glitter up against the shade that's on there now because it's pretty much the same tone or the same color, but it's so pretty. I'm loving it. Yeah, so it's the same axis. It's the first and the seventh, us and others, the moon, you know, feelings and how we're acting. Jupiter's in our seventh, expanding relationships of all kinds. Mars in the fourth, will, action, passion, anger, depression, surrounding things to do with the home. And then Neptune and the black moon in the 10th, casting that shadow on like the career or public life. I am loving this, you guys. Oh my gosh. So much more than I thought I was. All right, I'm going to go under my eye with it now. So pretty. And I'm sure I could like foil this totally too if I used setting spray. But I'm not doing that for today. So pretty. So, yeah, with the trigger in our first house, we really need to, and that square going on. I mean, with Jupiter in the seventh, like expanded partnerships could trigger changes in how we feel about ourselves. That could contribute to maybe clearing up some of the issues regarding, you know, the home versus career life balance. Mars in the fourth, like a lot of activity and like desire to get things done at home or action or willpower surrounding the home. And then with, like I said, the black moon and Neptune up there in the 10th, some type of shadow around like public, what you do in like the public sphere. It is so pretty. Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. I love this. This is like so great for my Gemini today. Especially since we have those squares this week. We need something extra pretty. And that's what this is. Extra pretty. Okay. So, and I really love the formula of these shadows. They're like so smooth. All right. So, let's move on now and talk about the other square that's going on with Mercury opposing the degree of the new moon and lining up in another square with the north and south node and Saturn. All right, you guys, I'm done. It's so pretty. I mean, I'm going to wear mascara, obviously, but that's what I'm doing for my eyes. It is so perfect. Actually, I need to blend. I think I'm going to use a little bit of this quartz shade, which I'm so happy about because it's replacing my Laura Geller nude foundation color that I always use for a base. Sorry, Laura, you need to fix some of your ingredients. They're not too bad, but you can do better. And in the meantime, I have this quartz now, and it's like the same color. So I'm going to use that instead. I'm very happy about that. Even though it's just this nude color, when I opened the palette, that's what I was most excited about. I was like, ah, yes! Okay. I also, well, I could tell you why I was excited about all of them for different reasons. All right, so then we need to talk about our ruler, our chart ruler. As Gemini ascendants, our chart ruler is Mercury. And like I said in the beginning, yeah, that's better. Mercury is opposing the degree of the new moon this week, which, like, to me, just in thinking about it, like, just in vibing it out a little bit, it's kind of like, and then on either side are the north and the south nodes. So to me, it's kind of like Mercury's the messenger and opposing, like, with the past and the future, and Saturn too, who just went direct, who's kind of like releasing us and allowing us to move forward. And so with the past and Saturn, I mean, karma, Saturn, the past, south node, Saturn, and the north node where we're going to ultimately after the conjunction in 2020, and then Mercury sitting almost to the midpoint across from the new moon degree where it all started this year, while the moon goes through Gemini. To me, it's like maybe this is a point in time where we'll be getting some type of message on how we're doing in terms of clearing out the past, the whole purge situation, and making our way to that north node where we're going to. Just because it's Mercury, the messenger, right across and in the middle of those two while the moon is in Gemini. So yeah, like I'm thinking maybe messages of some type about how we're doing on our journey this year, our grand journey. All right. So this is done. This looks amazing. I really, really like it. Now let me do my under eye and my blush. And then I'll do mascara. Okay, so let's just house it out real quick. So Mercury right now is in Libra between like 12 and 14 degrees-ish while the moon goes through Gemini. And so that is in our 5th house, which is the house of like fun, creation, enjoyment, children, like just creative, being all types of creativity, like self-love. It's ruled by the sun, so it's very sunny, you know? Like it's a really like entertainment, games, just joy, generally joy and creative potential. All right, I'm gonna take this here sponge and pat that down. Then I'm gonna put blush and blur powder, mascara, and a lip. We'll be done. All right, okay, so Mercury, our ruler right now, is in our 5th house. So we should be having, like, in Mercury rules thoughts and, you know, our thinking patterns, communications. And so we should be having maybe like a lot of creative energy, a lot of like stimulated, more joyful, like enjoying life more maybe a little bit, or having more things the way, and Venus is very close to Mercury too, so having things sort of like just more the way we like it. And in the sign of Leo, yeah, it's like a lot of creative inspiration, creative ideas. So yes, with our ruler moving into our 5th, all right, now I'm going to do my blush. I'm going to use, like I said, this Every Day is a Good Day shade. It's like it's matte, and it's a lot. You can't really see it in that bag because it's reflecting, but it is a lot like this eyeshadow color right here. And I really like it. So yeah, what our chart ruler does, I feel like has a lot to do with like what's going on in our lives individually. And so with our chart ruler moving into the 5th house, maybe like a lot of creative ideas or fun things going on. I'm actually quite happy that Mercury is moving to the 5th, because that should bring some, especially there with Venus, that should maybe bring some more fun times, some more like joyful, fun activities and stuff like that. And couldn't we all use some of that? So that's nice. And so it's opposing, the new moon happened in our 11th house, like it probably does most of the time because we have Aries on our 11th house and the new moon is always in Aries. But it puts the South Node, Pluto, Saturn situation in our 8th house, and it puts the North Node into our 2nd house. So that, to me, with our chart ruler there in the 5th house, highlighting the 2nd and the 8th, because for us, our big restructuring that needs to happen is like with the Pluto, Saturn, South Node, like our release and clearing that needs to happen is in the South house. So it's like our psychological complexes and like our deep underlying feelings, and like a lot to do with like our relationship and ability to receive, to be receptive, Scorpio. And I mean, the 2nd house rules security, like what makes you feel safe. It's Taurus. It's like it's like finances, where the 8th house is like other people's resources and other people's money and stuff like that. So for us, our big Saturn-Pluto thing, I just love that. I'm going to put a little more because I want it to be a little bright for Gemini. Our big Pluto-Saturn thing is happening in the 8th. We're clearing, transforming all types of deep, limiting, subconscious, under the surface, unlooked at, hidden programs and like complexes and patterns of being. For us, it's our psyche. It's our psychological thought patterns, Gemini. The way that we're programmed. I mean, that's how it is for everybody. But for us, it's really like, because it's in the 8th house, it's like a really deep psychological thing. And also, like I said, has a lot to do with resources from others, other people's resources, because it's the 8th house. So it's like transforming our relationship to other people's resources. That's why I say the ability to receive, because we're going to the 2nd house, which is the way I see it in terms of the way that it's set up for Gemini ascendants. It's about like transitioning and evolving in terms of your self-value, your self-worth, your self-security, like having those things inside of you more so than needing them outside. And I don't know, I feel like like as the psychological issues are cleared up, purged, looked at, transformed, and restructured with Saturn, especially now that Saturn just went direct, things might really start clearing up for us, especially in terms of like other people's resources or other people's money. Like if people owe you something or like owe you money or insurance or something like that, there's a good chance that now that, let's see, I'm going to add just a little more bronzer now and then a little more powder. There's a good chance that now that Saturn is direct, things might start moving forward for you in terms of that, like inheritance, things that, if your partner's money too, because it's other people's resources, like in a marriage or something, their money could potentially start going better now that Saturn's direct. But, and also Saturn retrograde in the 8th house, like it's burning through karma pretty quickly. Like we've been going through quite a difficult time because the 8th house is really a deep psychological house. Like it's really not an easy house. And with Saturn there retrograde, I feel like we've been really on task in terms of the karma burning department. And I mean, every sign has, but just especially with it being in the 8th, like that's really like going really deep, you know? So that's what I'm kind of feeling about that. And like I said, with our planet there, opposite the north node, or opposite the new moon degree, and then in the 5th house, creative inspiration, creative like joy, pleasure, having fun, being joyful and happy, and just like getting the most out of life, the sun, you know? I kind of, all right, I'm gonna powder now. I kind of feel like maybe in the moon, I mean, it's the moon in Gemini. All right, so I'm going to use this blur powder now, just a tiny bit under my eyes. It's so good. It's from 100% pure. So yeah, you Gemini ascendants, I kind of feel like this is just a good point in time to like check where we're at. Maybe you'll receive some type of message or creative inspiration, and this goes for all of us too, just because it's a square, squares cause changes, it's across from the Aries new moon, and it's between the nodes and Mercury the messenger. And in our 5th house, maybe it's some type of creative information or message or expression of some kind. All right, you guys, this is looking in a way that's making me very happy. Okay. Now I'm going to use my 100% pure green tea mascara. Yes. So that's basically what I have to say for all of you Gemini ascendants out there. I have to use my Barbie mirror. They did put a beautiful, Pure by Barbie, Pure, put a beautiful big mirror in their palette. Thank you. Daily mascara sniff. So let's talk about people with a Gemini moon for a minute. If you have a Gemini moon, your emotional body is forming the Grand Cross. That's happening with Mars, Jupiter, Black Moon, and Neptune. And you have been squaring off to Neptune and the Black Moon for quite a while. So you've probably been feeling that. And we had the new moon and we've had all those planets in Virgo for a while, and all of those would have been squaring your moon all of this time. So you're probably pretty familiar with how that's been going for you by now. In terms of the moon coming through, and with Jupiter too, you've been forming a Grand Cross pretty much while the planets have been in Virgo, until once they got into the later degrees of Virgo. So you, my friends, already know what this is about. And when the moon comes through, you're probably just going to get an emotional enhancement with it even more. It's your moon return, and the moon is going to trigger that off for you guys. So just be aware generally of what I said earlier. Look how good that mascara is. Because it will affect you in an emphasized way because the moon will be conjuncting your moon, which is, I need to like let this dry for a minute. In the meantime, let me line my lips. Let's see. I think I'm going to use this Mineral Fusion pencil in Splendid. I think. Or maybe Elegant. Yeah, I think I'm going to use the color Elegant. I love these Mineral Fusion pencils. They're so good. This is just like a nude color. I'm going to go with a nude-ish lip, and I think I might use a gloss that's got like kind of like a little bit of like the more orangey sheen to it. Like I've been using, I think I have a sharpener here. Like I've been using for my Burt's Bees crayons. That didn't probably make any sense. I don't know why I was just talking so sporadically. Okay, I'm going to line my lips, and then I'm going to do my mascara. Top lashes. I love these pencils. I already said that. They're so good. And I haven't really tried a lot of their other products because they're pretty expensive and they don't really pull me in that much, but I really do like their bronzer. They have a really beautiful, Radiance. This is like a highlighter palette and it's got 4 different colors. I really like that. You know, maybe I'll use that pink color for a highlight today. I don't know. Right now they're actually 20% off at Whole Foods too. I might have to grab me another pencil. I'm only missing one of the shades. They only have 4 lip color shades. I'm missing one of them. Yeah. But they're really good. And I like all the colors. Yes. So for you guys with your moon there, we have to remember the planets involved are Mars, Jupiter, and Neptune in the black moon. So that has a potential for going many different ways, and not all of them could potentially be the most positive, especially with the moon and the emotional body involved. So we really need to try hard to maintain some type of like emotional stability and control during all of this crazies. And we can do it. Because with a Gemini moon, you're probably easygoing. You probably can go with the flow. You're probably very adaptable. Actually, I have my best friend has a Gemini moon, and she is the most easygoing, spontaneous person I've literally probably ever met in my life. And then I have another friend who's a Gemini ascendant and an Aquarius, and she has her moon in Gemini. So it's funny because I don't really have like tons of friends, close friends, but 2 of my closest friends both have Gemini moons, and one's an ascendant in Gemini, which is funny. So yes, you Gemini moons, your adaptability and easygoing nature is what you need to try to bring out and like help you through the big square with your planets that you have going on. All right, top lashes time. I need to wrap this up because my baby just woke up, and that means that things are going to be really difficult from here on out. All right, so stellium in Gemini people, basically all the same applies to you. And you have been, instead of the moon, your personal planets, or whatever planets are involved in your stellium, have been sustaining that square since Mars moved into Virgo. Well, the later degrees of Virgo. So you also, my friends, are quite familiar with these energies. But again, as the moon moves through, there's the emotional trigger. And yes, that is pretty significant. Kind of just, look how pretty. It's just so good. It's just so good. That is, it smells so good. That is your, that is the, like I said, the emotional trigger, lighting everything up, setting off that square, and the energy of your planets there. Oh my god. I'm so happy with my makeup right now. Yay, Moon and Gemini. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it. And then in terms of, for you guys, Moon and Stellium people, Mercury, I mean, it's hard to say with the house placement, but still, generally, Mercury will play a big role for you because it's ruler of the sign where your planets are. And so also for you, possibly be on the lookout for some type of message or something maybe in terms of the progress that we're making towards our goal of clearing out all of the junk and becoming the best versions of ourselves that we can be to take the future forward and make the world an entirely different and extremely better place. So that, my friends, is what I have to say about the astrology for Gemini. And pretty much the makeup for Gemini. I just love this mascara. And I love this shadow. I'm so glad I went with the green. I guess the point of the Moon in Gemini is sometimes indecision is the best decision. Right? That's what Gemini maybe tries to teach us sometimes. Sometimes. All right. This mascara is really beautifully buildable too. Like if you want big lashes, it does it really nicely without clumping. And I don't like a clumpy lash. I just don't like it. This is just gorgeous. All right, well, I think the only thing I have left at this point is my lip crayon. And I am going to throw a tiny bit of this highlight on in this more pinky shade right here. Just because I want, oh, no. Why use that when I could use this? And this is more toned the way I want it to also. So I'm going to use that instead. Just a little bit. So yeah, you guys, that's what I got for you and for me. The new moon was in our 4th house, home, family. Yes, lots going on there. And then the full moon, Neptune, black moon in the 10th, home, work, career, private, public, balance highlighted, for sure, at least for me. And then we have the Grand Cross going on in our 1st and our 7th, ourselves and others, the moon in our 1st, how we're feeling, other people, expansions in relationships, maybe affecting our feelings about ourselves. And then in the 10th and in the 4th, all of that energy towards the home and the black moon in the 10th, maybe something to do with feeling some type of way or inner frustration or something regarding one of those 2 areas of life. That's kind of what we're working with, gems. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of my bamboo setting powder. Oh, here it is. 100% pure. And I'm just going to dust it on my forehead, and then I'm going to put my lip on, and then we will be good. Yes, this stuff is so good. It is so fine, though. I've never used a powder this fine. I have to be careful because it, blows away. It truly just makes things look so nice and come together so well. Oh, did you guys notice I'm wearing 2 earrings, 2 small little ball earrings today for Gemini, multiples, small things. So I did that. All right, so last but not least, I am going to put on my lip, and I honestly think, now that I'm lined, I think I'm just going to use this, see how it goes. If I don't like it, I'll just wipe it off and put something on underneath it and then try it again. But I'm gonna try out this shade right here. It's another one of my Burt's Bees crayons. Like I said, I have them in every shade. This one is called Santorini Sunrise. And it's like the orangey color, just like the blush that I used and the eyeshadow that I used. So let's do it and see how it goes. Yes, I think I like it. I think I like it a lot. There it is. I'll be right back. Okay, here I am back for my full Moon in Gemini makeup look for AstroBeauty for today. Now, like I said in the beginning, I'm wearing green because I always want to wear green when the moon goes into Gemini, because green is like the color of like thought and thinking, and it makes me feel like Gemini. I don't know, Gemini always seems green to me because it's like the cognitive color. I don't know. That's what I go with. And then when the moon also goes into Gemini, I like to wear patterns. I like to wear multiples of things. I like to wear little things, and I like to wear stripes. So today I'm wearing stripes, and I'm wearing buttons, and I'm wearing 2 little earrings just to stay on theme. For my makeup, I wanted to go with something bright and lively, and actually I went with something quite changeable. It goes from dark green up into like pink orange shimmers, and I really couldn't decide because I just had so many options today. I tried my new Pacifica Cosmic Reflect palette, and I just had so many great options, and there were 2 separate colors. Gemini 2. There were 2 different colors I wanted to use, and I couldn't decide which one. Indecisiveness, Gemini. And so I decided that I would mix and match Gemini, and I used both of them. So I went in with a few colors from my Pink Nudes Pacifica palette first, across my eyes. And then I topped it with the color Delphi from the Cosmic. Actually, no. First, after I did the Pink Nudes, I went over with my Pacifica priming pencil, and then I went over the top with the color Hemp Leaf. It's like a dark green color. You see? And then I went over the top of all of that, well, not the green, but I went over the top of my lid with the color Delphi from the Cosmic Rays palette. It's like a shimmery pink orange. And then on my cheeks, I used the color Every Day is a Good Day from the All Natural Face. I went over it with a little bit of the highlight, the middle highlight from the Barbie by Pure highlight palette, and slapped on some black tea mascara from 100% Pure, threw on a lip liner from Mineral Fusion and a lip shade from Burt's Bees. Santorini Sun was the color that I used today. And that's pretty much it. I'm going with 2 totally different colors that totally worked out way better than I thought I would. I couldn't decide, so I just went with both of them, and I'm really loving my Gemini makeup look for today. In terms of the astrology, as the moon goes through Gemini this month, we have a grand cross going on between the moon in Gemini, Jupiter in Sagittarius, Mars in Virgo, and Neptune in the black moon in Pisces. So that's the energy of willpower, potentially anger, action, passion, and then Jupiter expanding things, the black moon and Neptune trying to bring either clarity or like disillusionment in regards to deep shadow issues, and then the moon in the emotional realms of things kind of triggering and setting it all off. So that's what we're dealing with collectively, while simultaneously in the same period of time, the ruler of the moon in Gemini, Mercury, was coming close to facing off with the degree of the new moon in Aries, sort of halfway through its cycle this time around the zodiac, from the first degree of the new moon in Aries all the way around. And the new moon in the degree of the new moon in Aries is significant because it carries the frequency for the year. And Mercury represents messages. It's also sitting very close to in between the north and the south node, the past and the future. So I'm wondering this couple days as the moon goes through Gemini if we might receive any type of information about how we're doing, our progress in terms of that Saturn, Pluto, South Node situation and the North Node where we're going, since Mercury is across from the degree of the new moon in Aries at the beginning of this new solar year, and also is the planet that brings messages, is the messenger, information, stuff like that. So I think that's really interesting. Now, specifically for us, Gemini ascendants, we had the new moon in our 4th house, tons of energy regarding stuff going on at home, the full moon, black moon, Pisces in the 10th, possibly bringing up shadow issues, angers, frustrations in regard to like a work-life balance, like a home-work balance, a private-public balance, like something like that. And then for us, the grand square that our moon is making is falling in our 1st and our 7th houses. That's our self, our emotions, how we feel about things, and other people, where Jupiter is sitting, expanding maybe relationships, stuff like that. And then we have Mars, like I said, falling into that 4th house of Virgo, action, will, passion, having to do stuff around the home. And then in the 10th, like I said, we have Neptune and the black moon up there, making us face our shadow, come to clarity, or not face and try to escape. Let's not do that though, from issues surrounding like subconscious shadows about public life somehow. So that's kind of how the energy is playing out for us, Gemini ascendants. And then also our chart ruler is making that opposition to the 1st degree of the new moon in Aries in between the nodes. So maybe for us, since it's our chart ruler, and also for Virgos too, since Mercury also rules Virgo, maybe there's some little messages coming our way to like let us know how we're doing on our year's journey. That's just what I'm saying. I don't know. You guys with the moon in Gemini, you've been holding this frequency for, and the same with stellium people in Gemini. You guys have been holding the energy, the frequency in Gemini that's been making the square between the Pisces planets, the Sag planets, and the Virgo planets, since all the planets moved into Virgo right around the new moon. So you guys are probably well versed in what this dynamic of tension feels like. But with the moon there, it's just shining the light, bringing a trigger, more of an emotional way to things, really enhanced feelings. So just be your Gemini moon selves and try to go with the flow, be as easygoing as you can, and realize that we're at a point right now where we are all needing like a serious upgrade, and it's happening to each of us on an individual level, clearing out stuff that's holding us back and preventing us from being our best selves so that we can create the best world around us. Also, for Gemini ascendants, I need to say Saturn recently went direct in our 8th house. So there might now be some type of like forward movement in regards to like other people's resources, or if you're owed money from someone, or just things in regards to like deep matters that maybe have been stuck and not clearing up, or things in regards to like personal issues with other people and their resources. So that's basically what I have to say for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my little moon in Gemini look as much as I did, and it's so pretty. I want to do this one again. All right, guys, I will catch you next time. I hope you have a great moon in Gemini a couple days, and I will be back very soon for the moon in Cancer. Oh, the moon, the moon. See you guys later. Astro Beauty out.